Hi there, this is Claude Chabrol from Claude Chabrol Films, and welcome to another random review. Today's random review is Blue Panther, or Marie Chantal versus Dr. K, from 1965, directed by Claude Chabrol. This is the Kino Lorber Region A Blu-ray. It's a 4K restoration, and there's a commentary by Howard Berger, Steve Mitchell and Nathaniel Thompson, and there's some trailers. This first came to my attention thanks to a friend of the channel, Roger Kirby. He did a review of it as well, which I'll put in the description. I'll put a link, because I didn't realise this Chabrol film was actually available on Blu-ray, as well as his film of Bluebeard, which I have since bought, but I've still to watch. I just had to do a video on this one. I did do a series on Chabrol, which I only did 29 of his films because he had 70 odd, and this was one of his films that I hadn't seen. I think Champagne Murders is also available on Kino Lorber as well, which I need to pick up too. This is a whole lot of fun. It's a spy film. It was made in 1965, so James Bond is well on the way. I think From Russia with Love was out as well by that time. But this is Chabrol in a somewhat frustrated place with his career. He'd obviously broken out as part of the Nouvelle Vague with Beau Serge and Le Cousin, more kind of personal, black and white, bleak kind of films. He was yet to do his kind of late 60s, early 70s to mid 70s run of really good films, including my favourite Le Boucher, but there's also Beast Must Die within that as well, and La Femme Infidèle. So this he had to do some kind of more mainstream studio pictures essentially, and you can kind of tell he's not 100% happy with doing Blue Panther, but so it's kind of a homage to those kind of spy films. There's a bit of Hitchcock in it as well, but it's also a bit of a satire on them as well, with that Chabrol sense of humour. Chabrol himself appears as a bartender, and gives a wonderful little turn. It stars Marie Laforette, who really should have been in a lot more Chabrol films. Akim Tamaroff plays the villain Dr. K, which may be a slight nod to Dr. No, but you never know. And Stéphane Audran, who would be in a bunch of Chabrol films, would be Chabrol's wife at some point. She plays the femme fatale. So this is your usual people getting involved in a spy chase, end of the world type scenario, with a sinister evil villain who claims to be the most intelligent man in the world, played by Tamaroff. So it starts off on a train, and we see somebody being killed, and a Blue Panther pendant with ruby eyes is removed by the killer, and the killer, to avoid being caught, he gets involved with this young woman, played by Lafayette, playing the character Marie Chantal, and her rather dim-witted cousin, and he passes the pendant, the Blue Panther, to her. But there's lots of sets of eyes watching what's going on. So there's a character who may be from the American Embassy or may be hired by the American Embassy as an assassin. There is 2 Russian agents, a father and a son team, and the son is the one that pretty much gives the orders. There's another character who may be on the right side or the wrong side. As usual in these kind of films, everybody isn't who they appear to be, and people generally kind of switch sides. Audran is kind of a freelance, and she switches sides quite a bit, in trying to get the Blue Panther either to the good side, quote unquote, or in the hands of Dr. K. The action, there's fight scenes, but they are fight scenes that are choreographed to look as though they're not choreographed. So they are a bit silly looking. And again, I think that was Chabrol's intention. Well, that's how I read it as anyway. So the fight scenes are a bit sloppy and kind of like how fights are in real life. You know, they're choreographed not to look choreographed. Marie Lafayette is absolutely fantastic. She's kind of starts off as being a bit ditzy, or everybody thinks she's a bit ditzy, along with her dim-witted cousin, who is hilarious. At one point he gets in drag. But she's smarter than she seems. Again, everybody's not particularly as they appear to be initially. She goes through lots of wonderful outfits during the film, as does Audran. And there's a wonderful scene where Lafayette is really sleepy and Audran comes in and helps her get to bed and takes off her stockings for her. She does have ulterior motives though. Audran is just having a ball. She initially turns up as the widow of somebody, but again, that's just a front. And like I said, she kind of swaps sides and is either on Lafayette's side or her own side or Dr. K's side, depending what scene it is. The film is 110 minutes, and looking at it objectively and critically, it's too long. But the thing is, it's a world that you actually want to spend time in, just because it's so off the wall. There's just about every character is slightly odd. Whether it's their vocal delivery or the way they act. You know, the father and son, allegedly Russian agents, they're really strange. There's a wonderful gag involving guns that are cigarette lighters, but they might be something else as well. That's just a wonderful gag. I mean, Chabrol, who may not have initially, really enjoyed the project, he also has a ball. There's lots of Chabrol black humour in it. There's lots of wonderful camera flourishes, but compared with obviously Le Beau Serge and Le Cousin, which is like really downbeat and grim black and white films that he started with, this is just like so much fun. Even if it doesn't completely make sense, even if it doesn't completely work, again, it's a world that you want to stay in, and you want to kind of spend more time with these oddball characters just because they are so strange. There's a wonderful scene where Lafayette is telling Dr. K exactly what's going on, and he has a medical model of a heart, and he's just like opening a chamber at a time while he's listening to her. I mean, it's just lovely little touches and little Chabrol moments. The picture looks wonderful. Like I say, it's a 4K restoration. And if you're a fan of Chabrol, it's a must. And if you're a fan of those 60s spy films that weren't taking themselves too seriously, Blue Panther or Marie Chantal versus Dr. K, I think will give you a lot of pleasure, because it certainly did for me. Plus you get the bonus of Stefana Dran dressed up like a man, which she just has so many wonderful outfits, as does Lafayette. It's just an absolute blast, and I would highly recommend it if you're that way inclined. So thanks very much for watching. Please let me know in the comments below if you've seen Blue Panther by Claude Chabrol, and hopefully you'll join me again for more random reviews. This is Saul Chironin from Saul Chironin Films, saying farewell.